SpaceX has successfully blasted the AX-4 mission to the International Space Station. It was incredible to see. There was a massive explosion at Starbase's test facility at Massey's. We will talk about it also in a minute. Groundwork on SpaceX's Gigabay is also coming up pretty fast. Work in progress also continues at Part B. This and many more to be shared on today's episode on Space Expense. My name is Ernest and I'm your host on today's episode. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, what exactly are you waiting for? Kindly do me a favor, smash the like button, subscribe to this channel so that you do not miss any of our future updates. I drop 2 new videos each week. They are all bangers and trust me, you do not want to miss any of them. Let's dive right in, shall we? On today's episode, we're going to do something a little bit different, alright? So I'm going to take my time and I'm going to talk to you and I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on in the spaceflight industry. I won't rush it, I will take my time for you to understand me well. In the past weeks, SpaceX has been preparing to blast off 4 astronauts to the International Space Station. This was the mission AX-4. Now SpaceX will be sending these 4 astronauts to the International Space Station to do some incredible work up there. But over the past week, SpaceX encountered some problems which prevented them from launching this mission. Early on Wednesday, SpaceX successfully blasted these 4 astronauts on top of a Dragon capsule straight to the International Space Station. It was incredible to see. SpaceX had to put in a lot of work getting everything ready, and everything has to go through a lot of wet dress rehearsal. I mean everything. Failure is not an option when it comes to human space flight missions. Now this was a total of 18 solid space flight mission which were human rated. It was incredible. SpaceX is doing an incredible work and they deserve a round of applause. Now also at the build site, SpaceX is also working on the ground foundation of the Gigabay that they are building. This Gigabay is going to be massive. I mean massive. The Megabay, it will be nowhere close to this Gigabay. They want to produce at least 1,000 ships every year. So for this to happen, SpaceX needs a place that they can stack these ships and these boosters with no stress at all. The Star Factory will be popping up these ships like crazy. So the Gigabay is very essential with the stacking of the ships. SpaceX will be putting this Gigabay together in no time as soon as the ground foundation is up and going. Now over at Part B, workers also continue to build this amazing infrastructure. The water-cooled steel plate is also coming up at an incredible rate. The manifolds are being put together and they are moving very fast. I mean very fast. This infrastructure will be completed in no time, and sooner than you think, we will start seeing boosters heading to Part B to undergo their testing and possibly launch tests. At this rate of progress, I'm sure that these SpaceX engineers, they wake up every morning running on some hypergolic propellant. If that's not it, then I do not know what these guys are on. They are incredible. Now over in the past week, a dramatic explosion happened at SpaceX's test facility at Massey's. Let me take my time and let me tell you exactly what happened. So there was an explosion of Starship 36 during a static fire test at the Massey'stestsite. This incident happened on the 18th of June 2025. This was a major setback for SpaceX's ambitious Starship program, and it got everyone buzzing. Let's break it down, explore what went wrong, and clear up any confusion about the event. Now, if you are into rockets, explosions, or a good space drama, so picture this. It's just after 11 p.m. local time at SpaceX's Starbase in Boca Chica, Texas. SpaceX is gearing up for a routine static fire test of Ship 36, the upper stage of their massive Starship rocket, at Massey'stestsite. For those new here, a static fire test is when they bolt the rocket to the ground loaded with propellant and fire up the engines to make sure everything is ready for launch. Ship 36 was said to be the star of Starship 10's flight test, potentially launching as early as June 29th. Things were looking promising after a successful single-engine static fire just 2 days earlier on June 16th. But then, boom! I mean literally. At 11:01 p.m. Central Time, during the final stages of loading liquid methane and liquid oxygen for the 6-engine static fire, something went catastrophically wrong. Video footage from NASAspaceflight.com and La Padre shows a massive explosion rocking the Massey'stestsite. It started with a bright flash near the top of Ship 36 nose cone, followed by a second even bigger explosion that engulfed the rocket in a giant fireball. The blast was so intense it shook homes miles away, with some folks reporting feeling it 30 miles out. Black smoke rose into the skies of Boca Chica, Texas, and fire burned for hours, damaging the test stand completely and nearby infrastructure. Thankfully, SpaceX confirmed no injuries, and their safety perimeter kept everyone and every employee and the public safe. SpaceX also dropped a statement on X 90 minutes after this catastrophic event, saying on Wednesday, June 18th, approximately 11 p.m., the Starship preparing for the 10th flight test experienced a major anomaly while on the test stand at Starbase. A safety clear area around the test site was maintained throughout the entire operations, and all personnel were safe and accounted for. They also urged people to stay away from the site while they worked with local authorities to secure it. No hazards to nearby communities, which was a relief. Now let's talk about this mix-up and what actually caused this giant fireball. Initial reports were all over the place, with some calling it a static fire gone wrong or even a launch attempt. To clear things up, this was not a launch at all, and the Raptor engines didn't even ignite. The explosion happened before the static fire during propellant loading. According to SpaceX and Elon Musk, the likely culprit was a failure in a composite overwrap pressure vessel, a COPV, in the payload bay. In the payload bay near the nose cone. For those who are not in the Rocket Nerd Club, a COPV is a super strong lightweight tank that holds high pressure gases like nitrogen or helium. Elon Musk said on X that the initial data suggests that nitrogen COPV failed below its proof pressure, which is a fancy way of saying it burst before it was supposed to. This triggered a chain reaction, the first explosion in the nose cone, followed by an ignition of the propellant, which caused the second massive fireball. Now here is where things got really messy. The explosion didn't just destroy Ship 36, it took a big chunk of the Massey'stestsite with it. The test stand and parts of the liquid methane farm were completely destroyed, and fires burned for hours, possibly making things worse. This is a huge blow for SpaceX because Massey's is where SpaceX tests Starship prototypes before they head to the launch pad. Without the working test site, other ships like Ship 37 and Ship 38, which are waiting in the wings, can't move forward in their own static fire or cryogenic tests until repairs are done. And with Ship 36 gone, Flight 10 will be delayed indefinitely. Now let's address the mishap parts. Some posts on X and earlier reports caused confusion by suggesting the explosion happened during the static fire or that it was a launch attempt. Others threw around terms like RAD, a rapid unscheduled disassembly, which is SpaceX's cheeky way of saying boom. The mix-up likely came from the chaos of the moment live streamers like NASA Spaceflight were live, and commentators were scrambling to make sense of it. Some thought the methane vent before the explosion was part of it, but it was actually a sign of trouble. Now to clear things up, this was a ground test at Massey's, not a launch attempt, and it was a COPV failure, not an engine issue. Elon Musk also tried to downplay the incident, calling it just a scratch on X. Classic Elon, right? But this is no small scratch at all. This is actually SpaceX's first ground test explosion of Starship since SN4 way back in 2020, and it's the fourth major Starship failure in 2025 alone. Flight 7, Flight 8, and Flight 9 earlier this year all had issues: propellant leak, engine failures, altitude control problems, and now Ship 36's explosion. This all adds up to a rough year for the Starship program, which is critical for NASA's Artemis lunar missions and Musk's dream of colonizing Mars. And since this was a ground test, the FAA, the Federal Aviation Authorities, won't be leading this probe. SpaceX will handle it internally. They will need to figure out why that COPV failed and how to prevent it in the future ships. They've got Ship 37 and Booster 16 waiting with their Massey'stestsite out of commission. It's everyone's guess when testing can resume. Some estimates put Starship's hardware losses at over $600 million from recent failures. Now, some estimates are putting Starship's hardware losses at above $600 million in a total loss. So the financial hit is real. Still, SpaceX's fail fast approach means they learn from their setbacks, and even if it is an expensive lesson. Alright, space fans, now this is exactly what happened at the test site at Boca Chica, Texas. Now this is a reminder that building the biggest rocket in history is no easy feat, and explosions like this are part of the high stakes game for innovation. Thank you for staying with us to the end. If you enjoyed the video, kindly smash the like button, subscribe to this channel so that you do not miss any of our future updates. I drop 2 new videos each week. They are all bangers, and trust me, you do not want to miss any of them. Watch this video right here. This was my previous upload and it was a banger. And I will talk to all of y'all in our next episode. Thank you for staying with us.